Hey, it's Tom from Wine Valley Woodworks. I'm going to show you how to make this exact same board with this same design right now. Alright guys, what I'm doing is I'm setting up my stop block here on my miter table saw. That way I only have to measure once so I can make multiple cuts with the exact same length. It just makes for a really quick work in my shop, and that's what my shop is all about. Those boards that I just cut up, I'm just ripping them to make 2.5-inch wide planks. Reason for that being is I'm going to glue those up together. That's going to be the thickness of my board before milling it down to about 2 to 2.25 inches. All right guys, as you can see, I just cut up 27 pieces of this edge grain right here. This is gonna be glued on top before I flip it to end grain. What I wanna do is I wanna complement some of this sapwood. That's the heartwood there. You know, just see, this is pretty much all sapwood. That's a beautiful piece. What I try and do is I try and alternate pieces so I get unique designs out of all my boards. And it's gonna make sense at the end of this video why I do that. It's hard to explain without showing you, without getting there first. Let's do a glue up right now. All right guys, before I get to the glue up, I'm gonna make 2 piles between the heartwood and the sapwood. That's a heartwood piece right there. You can see there's some sapwood there. So the heartwood pile is on the left, sapwood is on the right. This is all gonna make sense in just a moment. What I'm gonna do first is lay out the darker pieces of the heartwood first. I'm gonna space them out evenly, and then I'm gonna try to evenly space out the sapwood as well. It's not gonna be exactly perfect, but the design, I promise you, is gonna look great at the very end. The reason I love building cutting boards this way is it brings a uniqueness to every single board. I can build 1,000 different cutting boards. However, none of them are going to look the same just because hardwood and sapwood planks are so different from each other. There's no two alike on earth. So if I build a board for you, you know that you're getting something that's very unique. Your friends are going to want one, but they're not going to be able to have the one that you have because how special and how unique it's going to look. So what I'm applying here is Type Bond 3. This is FDA approved food safe wood glue. Once the wood glue is dried, it means your cutting board is safe for food contact. Okay, this last step of the day, I'm clamping these boards together. You can see there's a little bit of glue squeeze out, that's normal. That's gonna be all taken care of tomorrow, but I'm gonna let these planks and let the wood glue dry for about 24 hours before I move on to day 2. Okay, you guys, this is the start of day 2. I'm using the Crafted Elements router sled to flatten my board completely and just get rid of all that wood glue that's squeezed out between the boards. If you're a woodworker and don't have this router sled yet, you guys honestly, what are you waiting for? This thing saves so much time. It does such a great job. I honestly cannot run my business without this tool. The top side's done. We gotta flip this over, lock it in place, and do the bottom side. This is 10x speed. I'm not actually flattening this down at this speed. This takes about 3 minutes to do for this side of the board. This is a 14-inch by 20-inch board. If you do this, definitely take your time. There is the current edge grain finished product. I'm going to sand this down right now through this drum sander so as to get it perfectly flat before the next cut up and glue up. And this is what it looks like after running through the drum sander. What I'm doing here right now is making a perfect, clean 90-degree cut. Just clean up the edge of this board. I'm gonna run my board against the fence on my table saw. This is the first step in turning an edge grain board into an end grain board. Back to the glue up station. Okay, you guys, this is the most important part of the video about how to get the design you want, so just pay close attention. So all the end grains are facing up at the moment. I alternate every other plank. Okay, then what I do, I flip 90 degrees away from me to get the edges of the board exposed to the top so I can glue them up. Then what I do is when I'm gluing up the board back together, I stagger the joints so it gives it a little bit of a wavy pattern back and forth. "24 hours has passed and it's the beginning of day 3. Let's unclamp this board, put it back on the router sled." You've made it this far in the video. If you wouldn't mind, please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, so you can see more content just like this. It also helps the algorithm on my channel. That way it enables me to keep making videos just like this for you to enjoy. Okay, back to the drum sander just to get everything super smooth on the top and bottom of this board. And here's a sweet shot just for you. There's the finished design of this board. Now it's time to clean this thing up and give it a little bit of character. Okay, it's time for me to show off one of my new favorite tools. This is the Crafted Elements Juice Groove Jig. This thing is so fast and so easy to assemble, and the best part about this, it's easy to store and take apart if you have a small shop. My old Juice Groove Jig was pretty bulky, pretty beefy, and did a good job, but once you start living on the easy street because you have a fun, awesome, new, great, innovative product, why would you ever go back? I absolutely love this jig. Often making handle cutouts, I use my router table here with some stops just to make perfect cutouts every single time. This is probably not the most ideal way to do it, however, it just works for me. I've seen other great tools and great jigs and other ways guys do it on social media, and I just haven't gotten around to addressing a better way to do it yet, but so far this is just how I do it at the moment. The next step is just rounding out the edges with a chamfer cut. This is a 45-degree bit. Gives a lot of character to the cutting board. Before you go to the comments section and ask me, why aren't you using a trim router? My answer to that is because trim routers don't make for good videos. Sanding the handles can absolutely not be overlooked. It's just important to me to make sure that when you grab your cutting board, it just feels right and feels smooth in your hands. I want my customers to have a sense of pride when they hold their cutting board. The absolute most painful part of this process is sanding out these juice grooves. However, it's very important. Juice grooves give cutting boards a lot of character and they increase the value of the cutting boards. I so badly wish there was a quicker way to smooth out these cutting boards. However, there's not. I'm just taking this orbital sander and just taking my time smoothing out the cutting boards in between grits. Also have this cool little tool here. It's just a little sponge or whatever you want to call it. It just makes it so your sandpaper has a little bit of flex when you go back to sand out the edges of the juice grooves. So what I'm doing here is just using a little technique just to give a little bit of character to the juice grooves so they don't just dip straight out from the board. What I'm doing right here is water popping the grain. This allows the grains to raise so you can keep sanding them down, which makes for a smoother board in the very end. By far, the most rewarding part of this process is adding mineral oil to your cutting board. This just reveals all the character your board has and how good it's going to look in your home when you're showing off to friends and family during barbecues, cookouts, you name it. This is your board, and there's not another one like it in the world. The last part of this process is adding board conditioner. This keeps your board looking brand new and keeps it healthy. Alright guys, there you have it. If you want a board just like this one, make sure you check out my store. A link to the store is in the description of this video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw. Thanks for watching.